Alrighty, hello, and welcome back, and thank you for joining me, everybody. I am, as always, your host, Ramity. And it has been quite a little while. I apologize. It's busy life for Ramity right now. Very busy life. But it's snow outside today. I cannot go anywhere. I am trapped here at home. So we play a little bit of the Space Engineers. So the last time we was here in the tutorial, what we did is we had our little small ship. It was all nice and built, and we had just gathered a little bit of the ores, especially the uraniums and some of the ions. So what we need to do next is we still need to concern ourselves with those things, but we need to do a little bit of work on the base. Now, as you heard me mention, the ultimate goal, what we want to do, what we want to build for the future, is we want to get to a mostly self-contained large ship, large mining ship, so that we can go ahead and do some of the asteroid gobbling. That is the goal for us in the future. But there are a few things we can do first. One of those big things is we can minimize our uranium use here on the station, which will also free up a large version of a small reactor for us. The other thing that we can do is we need to get a little bit of interconnectivity between our ships and the base, and we're going to use the connector right here to do that. But first, this small little container right here, that is not going to last us for very long. So what we're going to do is do away with our small container. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to come over here just a little bit, and we're going to get ourselves a large container, which is going to look like this. So as you see over here, it's going to use quite a few of the interior plates, the construction components, etc, etc, etc. So we go over here, we need to get some of the interior plates. Now I only have 183 of those. I need 80 of these construction components right here. I need 360 of these total, so I'm going to go ahead and make 500 of those interior plates. You saw that we're going to need 60 of these tubes right here, so we're going to need more of those. I need 1 of the display, and then I think I need 8 computers. I don't know if I have any computers made, so we'll go back over here. We'll go ahead and we will make 20 of the computers. Okay, so we let that work and do its thing. In the meantime, what we do is we come over here on the station, and we get ready to place everything. Now for this, I think I'm going to make these a nice bright red. We're going to use the bright red. So let's get our container out here. We'll move him back just a little bit. My ship is potentially in the way, so I tell you what, we go get into the ship. We're going to move him out of the way and then spin him around. There. There is our ship right there. Okay, so let's come back over this direction now. Hopefully I'm going to be able to place this guy. It looks like that I am. So we will place this large container right here. That seems like a good thing. We'll go ahead and put all of the components in here that we can. So I'm going to need 20 of the motors in addition and 8 of the computers. So let's come back here to our assembler now. Get into the assembler. I have many of these plates that are just about to be done, so let's go ahead and get those. I'm going to need 20 of the motors. I only have 16, so let's go ahead and make maybe 50 of those here real quick. And now let's get the rest of the components that we're going to need. We should be done with our interior plates. It looks like we are. We're going to be done with our computers. And now we're also going to be done with our motors. Okay, so let's come back and finish building this guy. Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, so now we can do a couple of things from here. We can obviously hook this guy into what is going on with the refinery and the assembler. We can also use this as a point where we can come in and connect to the ship. So if I go ahead and use a connector right here, we're going to place the connector. I'm going to use number 9. Now as you see, the door is facing the wrong direction, so we need to have him face down. I'm going to need some steel plates. 150 steel plates, 20 computer motor, small steel tube, and construction component. So let's go over here and let's get what we are now going to need. So 150 of these plates. That's going to take almost of all of the space I have. Let's move these guys back over. It's at, I think, 40 of this. And now I don't remember the other components, but I will at least be able to place it now. So there we go. Let's build him. 12 of the small steel tubes, and I need 8 more of the computers. Excellent. So let's go down here and get the computers. I need 12. There we go again. Okay, so I need, let's make, say, 20 more computers. And now let's go ahead and make a couple hundred of the small steel tubes. So I can go ahead, I get them the amount of their motors. I keep them for a moment here. 2 of the tubes is not going to be enough, so let's go ahead and get 12 of the tubes from right here. There we go. And now let's go finish our connector. There we go. Okay, so just to showcase what we can do with the connector now, I am going to come back over here to my little mining ship. We pop into him. And now I'm going to be very careful with how I approach the connector over here. So I need to make sure I'm above him. And now I'm a little off to the side. I need to fix my yaw. We come down a little bit. And almost there. Okay, so it did help me out. Now, as I told you earlier, remember I have already onto my bar, I have placed the connector, and the purpose of the connector is to switch the lock. So when I hit 7, you're going to notice everything turns green. Here we are on the yellow, here we are on the green. I am going to pop into my K menu really quickly, and on the connector, I'm going to rename this. I'm going to rename this the mining connector. Now, right now, it may not seem like a big deal. But later on, this is going to be complicated. So now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the cargo, and I'm going to say small mining cargo 1. And I'm going to do the same thing with the next one down here. We're going to name this small mining cargo 2. We just renamed the blocks so that we have an idea of what they are doing. Okay, and the reason I do that is now when I hook into this container, all of a sudden in my K menu, I have many of these things that I can now have access to all across the station in addition to what is my own thing. So here's the mining connector. You notice that this is the station connector we just built. The large cargo container right here is also to the station, so I'm just going to name this station cargo 1. That is done. And now in my inventory, if I go ahead, I can't, for the moment, I cannot hide empty because my large station cargo is not empty. But if I go and I take the uranium and I move him into the large station cargo 1 right there, now I can hide the empties that I do no longer need. And that makes it just easier for me to go ahead and move the blocks in between. So I'm going to empty out everything that is in my small mining ship, and I'm going to empty it into that cargo container. There we go. Now later on, you're going to see me just kind of venting the stone using the connector. For right now, I'm not going to do that very much because I need some of the stone for the reactor components. Stone will be turned into gravel, and then I will need it for reactor components. Okay, so not only is my ship now there, but he is locked onto the station. He's not going to move. So if I go back into this guy, what I can do is you notice that I had my engines on a block here on my bar as well. I can go ahead and shut my engines off. I can just conserve all of the energy in the reactors is what I'm really doing there. Okay, so now let's come on down to this guy. And what are we going to do with this guy? Well, there's a lot that we can do with him. Obviously, something that we want to do is we want to be able to run the lines right here. So what do I need? I need some steel plates. Let's come over here to the assembler. I'm going to need eventually some more of these steel plates anyway. So let's go ahead and make 500 of the steel plates. I cannot remember if we have any of the bulletproof glass or not. Oops, I cannot move him. I have 70 of the bulletproof glass. We're going to leave that for right now. So into, oops, that's not the cargo I want. Into the cargo over here, we're going to go and take all of that bulletproof glass. We're also going to take as many of those as we can carry. And now I'm going to be able to hook in together the multiple different things here. Now with this guy right here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use interior plates to build a large conveyor. I want that large conveyor so that I can go ahead and utilize multiple things. Now I'm actually going to put you know what, I not do that. Large conveyors are expensive, and unfortunately right now I am still very poor. Okay, so I'm going to need some small steel tubes and construction components, so let's, ideally I want to begin moving everything into this large cargo container here, so I'm going to, let's make sure that on the conveyor I don't need any more of these small interior plates. Okay, those are all done. Good. I tell you what, we just run down the line here real fast and empty everything that I has into that. Okay, that is good. Okay, good, good, good. So now we come back here. We're going to just drop off the steel plates, the interior plates into there. I think to an extent I can even drop those plates in there as well. Now I want to come back and I need to get the construction components that I had. I need to get the motors and I need to get the small steel tubes. All of these things are worthy to be moved. So here we go. We not quite finish him. I need some more of the small steel tubes. Go ahead and work on the conveyor here. All of these things are requiring the small steel tubes so far. Not quite, not quite. Now this, I need more of the construction components and more of the motors. So I'm going to be in need of many of the things for right now. So let's come here to the back of the assembler. Let's go ahead into production on the assembler. So let's go ahead and make a couple hundred of those. Let's go ahead and I'm going to need a couple hundred of those construction components. And let's remember what the rest was. We'll make some of the motors. That was way too many motors for this early in the game. We'll go ahead and make 50 of the motors. I am not that rich. I do not have that much stuff that I can use. So we just need small steel too. I need the motors and the construction components there. Okie dokie. Well, let's go ahead and keep combining everything into the large cargo container while we're waiting on some of that stuff to be done. And, okay, so the small cargo container, I have displays, I have a bunch of that, okay. So let's move this back over here now into this guy. And here at the end, we put the reactor components, we put those, we go ahead and we put the displays, and we move the interior plates. Good. And now, this guy right here is now empty and he is kind of obsolete. I no longer need the small the small cargo container. So we just go ahead and blow him up. Now, let's see how much we can finish on this. I still need some motors for you. I still need the small steel tubes, so none of that is helping. You're done here. I still need the small steel tubes for you as well. Small steel tubes everywhere. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and look in this guy here. Let's see how we do. I have the small steel tubes, and it looks like I have actually run out of iron, which is kind of a rare occurrence, but I have actually run out of iron. So the goal here then is to complete as much of this as we can complete and have it be usable. I can complete you, I can complete you. Okay, so I'm a little short off of this guy. How many of the... Oh, I just need motors for you. I need 2 of the motors for you. That is interesting. I've not made it to the motors yet. Well, let's come back here. Do the motors... Surely they probably need ions. If I go ahead and cancel all of that... Yeah, that is not enough for the motors just yet, which is kind of sad. That's okay. Alright, so now what we do is we hand carry some of the iron over to the refinery. We get some of the ions here. We move... amount should be between... I don't really know what that meant, but let's go ahead and move 5,000 of the iron ores. And now into the refinery the iron ores will go. And there we go. So now everything is going to hopefully start working, and as you notice, the light here is yellow where these lights are red because he is not complete. But I am going to be able to move from refinery into assembler, and so as the assembler now needs things, it's going to go ahead and just natively do that. So I have plenty of the motors now completed. Let's go back in here. Let's make a couple hundred of those construction components because I am going to need them. Let's finish that. And now something that is also going to happen is the refinery should start pulling all of these ores into the refinery itself. And if it does not do that, we can go ahead here again, hide the empty. I can go ahead and forcibly move into the refinery some of these things. So we want obviously that to go first, and then we want to do the iron. I'm going to do the gold next just because it is a small quantity, and then we shall do the nickel after that, and then it will pull the stone promptly after the nickel is done. Now I am going to split a little bit of this iron. I'm going to go ahead and do 10,000 of the iron first. I'm not immediately in need of uraniums, but I am in need of the ions. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that first. Okay, I need a little bit of the energy, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop into the station here. And while I do that and get my own energy, I'm also going to get some energy in real life and have a little sip of the coffee. So I'll be right back to you. Remember, when you get old, like me, unfortunately, then you are going to need the coffee to stay alert and alive. There's a problem as you get old, so... Ah, that's good coffees. Okay, so what have we done here so far? We have built a large container. We have hooked the container up into what was provided to us as the refinery and the assembler. And then we have allowed our mining ship that we had to hook into both of these things so that I can easily transfer the goods from the ship to container and into the other aspects of the station. Okay, so all that is done, which was step number 1 for today. I think I may end this episode right here. The next thing that we want to do is I want to go ahead and get some different powers other than the uraniums. The uraniums is fine for the small ships because they do not use it very quickly, and even to an extent the large ships it is fine to have some of the uraniums, but I need another way to generate power that does not require mining a finite resource. And that power happens to come from that guy right there, that little ball of nuclear fusion generating energies. We are going to use him to generate a little bit of energy by building some of the solar panels. So, I tell you what, we come back here in just a moment, and that is what we do.